Most men think aging is something they should fear, that every gray hair or line on their face means they're losing value. But here's the truth. For men who understand female psychology, aging can actually make you more desirable. Because as you get older, something happens, your presence changes. You carry yourself differently. And women notice it, often more than you do. Welcome back to Be Feminine, where we break down the hidden layers of female psychology, attraction, and the unspoken dynamics between men and women. Now, let's talk about something most men overlook: the signs you're aging like fine wine. Even if you don't realize it, you've started to radiate calm confidence. You see, young men chase energy. They try to impress, talk fast, fill every silence. But women are not drawn to chaos, they're drawn to composure. When a man ages well, his confidence no longer comes from needing attention. It comes from being grounded. He's not trying to prove himself to anyone. He knows who he is, what he wants, and what he doesn't tolerate. And women find that incredibly attractive because it signals emotional control, a trait women subconsciously associate with safety and dominance. You don't have to act tough anymore. Your calmness is your strength. You've developed a presence that speaks louder than your words. There's a subtle power in the way mature men move and speak. You don't need validation. You don't chase approval. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. That's not age, that's presence. It's something that builds through experience, through learning when to walk away, and through understanding that silence often says more than 1,000 words. Women pick up on that presence immediately. It's why a man in his 40s or 50s can walk into a room and turn more heads than someone half his age. It's not about looks, it's about energy. The energy of someone who's seen life, who's not easily shaken. You've stopped reacting emotionally. In your 20s, you probably got caught up in arguments, tried to explain yourself too much, or took rejection personally. But now, you've learned that peace is more valuable than being right. This emotional stability is one of the strongest signs that you're aging like fine wine. Because women notice how you handle pressure, how you respond when things don't go your way. The less reactive you are, the more in control you appear. And in female psychology, control equals strength. Women are instinctively drawn to men who can stay calm in chaos because that calmness feels masculine, safe, and powerful. You've grown more selective, and that raises your value. When you were younger, you might have chased every opportunity, every woman, every thrill. But now, you choose carefully. You don't entertain drama, and you don't waste time on people who drain your energy. That selectiveness isn't arrogance, it's self-respect. It tells women that you've evolved past the need for validation. You're not desperate for attention because you know your worth. And ironically, that's when women start giving you more of their attention, because your time suddenly becomes more valuable. You carry the quiet confidence of experience. One of the strongest psychological shifts that happens with age is that men begin to understand what really matters. You've learned how to listen, how to observe, how to read people. You don't compete anymore. You lead. You don't chase. You attract. And this natural, effortless confidence is what women describe as mature, masculine energy. It's not loud, not flashy, but it's magnetic. You see, aging isn't a decline for men, it's an upgrade if you grow with it. Every scar, every failure, every lesson adds layers to your character. And those layers are what make you captivating. Because while youth catches attention, maturity holds it. So if you've started noticing that women respond to you differently, that they hold longer eye contact, that they listen more when you speak, that they seem curious about your calm, it's not random. It's a reflection of your growth. You're aging like fine wine. And most men don't even realize it. One thing most men never realize is that women don't just see age, they feel it. They read your body language, your tone, your silence, your energy. And when that energy comes from maturity instead of insecurity, it creates a psychological effect that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. Let's break down exactly how that works. First, your calmness activates her feminine side. When a woman feels a man's calm energy, her body and mind naturally relax. It's biological. Women are instinctively drawn to men who project emotional stability. You're not easily provoked, not reactive, not needy for reassurance, and that steadiness triggers something powerful in her psychology. She feels safe. That safety allows her to soften, to let down her guard, to act more feminine. And the irony is, the older you get, the more naturally that calm confidence develops. You stop overanalyzing what to say or do, and you just are. That's the point where attraction stops being about looks and becomes about energy. 2. You show emotional restraint instead of chasing attention. You don't text impulsively. You don't try to win approval. You're comfortable being silent, letting her come to you, letting curiosity build. You've probably learned through experience that attraction isn't created by doing more, it's created by doing less, but with intention. You no longer try to convince her of your worth, you let her feel it, through your behavior. That kind of restraint, the ability to stay centered when others seek attention, is pure masculine energy. And women feel that difference immediately. 3. You understand women better than you used to. When you were younger, female behavior probably confused you. Mixed signals, sudden changes in mood. Tests, you might have taken them personally. But now, you've learned to read between the lines. You understand that her emotions aren't always logical, they're responsive. You've seen enough to know that attraction is not about words, it's about how you make her feel. That wisdom, built from experience, is what makes mature men so magnetic. You've stopped reacting to her behavior, you interpret it, and that makes her feel seen in ways younger men simply can't. 4. You've stopped performing and started being authentic. One of the biggest psychological turn-ons for women is authenticity. When a man is fully comfortable in who he is, flaws and all its grounding, it's trustworthy. You don't try to be funny just to get attention or pretend to be someone you're not. You express yourself honestly, you own your truth, and you don't hide behind trends or ego. That kind of raw authenticity only comes with age, when you've lived enough to know what really matters. And for women, that's irresistible. 5. Your eyes tell stories now. You might not realize it, but your eyes have changed. They don't carry the same restless energy they once did. There's calmness there, experience, wisdom, control. When you look at someone, it's steady, focused, intentional. And women feel that. It's not about staring or dominance, it's about presence. Your eyes communicate confidence, and that silent communication triggers deep attraction in women on a subconscious level. Because when you meet her gaze without flinching, it tells her one thing clearly: you can't shake me. 6. You've built depth, and women crave depth. In a world full of surface-level conversations and image obsession, depth is rare. A man who's lived, learned, failed, and grown carries a depth that no amount of youth can replicate. You have stories, lessons, insights, and you express them not with arrogance, but with quiet wisdom. Women are drawn to that. They can sense when a man's confidence comes from experience rather than ego. And it's that depth that makes you linger in their mind long after the conversation ends. 7. You've mastered emotional detachment, not indifference, but control. This is one of the clearest signs you've aged like fine wine. You don't attach your self-worth to whether a woman likes you or not. You don't overinvest emotionally before she's earned it. You've learned to give attention without losing your center, and that balance is what separates mature masculine energy from boyish neediness. In female psychology, This is deeply attractive because it communicates value. You're a man who's in control of his emotions, not controlled by them. So, if you're the kind of man who's no longer trying to prove himself, who's become selective, grounded, and calm, understand this. You're not losing your edge. You're refining it. Women don't just see your age, they feel the difference in your energy. And that's why they look at you differently now, longer, softer, more curious. Because deep down they sense that you've evolved into something few men ever become. A man who doesn't chase attraction, he creates it. There's a moment in every man's life when something changes, not physically, but energetically. You stop chasing validation. You stop overthinking every word. You move differently, speak differently, and carry yourself with quiet certainty. And without even realizing it, that shift triggers something deep inside a woman's psychology. Let's break down exactly why mature men often become more desirable with age, and why women start noticing them in ways they never did before. First, women feel your energy before they see your looks. Attraction isn't visual. First, it's emotional and energetic. When a man is young, his energy is often restless, impulsive, or scattered. He's trying to be impressive. But as a man matures, his energy becomes grounded slower, more deliberate, more focused. Women sense that instantly. They may not be able to explain it, but it feels safe and magnetic at the same time. It's that balance between calm and strength that pulls them in because it signals masculine maturity. When your energy is settled, women pick it up without a word being spoken. 2. Your tone carries authority, not arrogance. You've probably noticed this in yourself. Your voice isn't the same as it used to be. It's steadier. You speak slower. You don't rush to fill silence or explain yourself unnecessarily. That tone, calm, deep, and self-assured, is powerful in female psychology. Because it communicates control. A woman subconsciously associates a man's tone with how secure he is in himself. When you speak with quiet conviction instead of emotional intensity, it tells her, I don't need to dominate to be respected. And that quiet authority, not force, not ego, is what makes women listen differently when you speak. 3. Your masculine energy has become selective. One of the most attractive things about a man who's aged well is that his attention has become rare. You don't give it to everyone. You've learned that your energy is valuable and that not everyone deserves access to it. You've built boundaries, not walls, but standards. And here's the key. Women respect men who respect their own time. When you're selective with who you engage, you create psychological scarcity, and in attraction, scarcity builds value. That's why women become more curious about you as you age. Your attention isn't easily earned anymore. 4. You've stopped competing and started leading. You no longer try to outshine other men or prove your worth through status or possessions. You've realized that real power doesn't need to announce itself. And that shift from competing to commanding changes everything. Women pick up on it immediately because it changes how you move, how you react, how you exist. You lead with presence, not pressure. You listen more than you talk. You move with purpose, not speed. That's the energy of a man who has nothing to prove, and ironically, that's the kind of man who naturally earns respect and attraction wherever he goes. 5. You've become emotionally disciplined. This is a major turning point in a man's life. You've stopped letting your emotions control your decisions. You don't chase arguments or respond to disrespect impulsively. You think, then act. You observe before reacting. And that emotional discipline creates a sense of mystery around you. Because women can't predict you, you're not reactive, you're composed. And unpredictability, when combined with control, is extremely attractive. It makes her curious about what's behind your calm exterior, and that curiosity keeps her mentally invested in you. 6. Your presence carries depth, and women crave that. You've probably noticed how, as you age, people open up to you more easily. That's not random. It's because your energy feels safe and experienced. You've seen life, made mistakes, learned lessons, and it shows. That depth makes your conversations more meaningful. You listen differently now, not to reply, but to understand. And women sense that emotional intelligence immediately. They feel that you get it, that you're not judging, not reacting, just present. And that presence is intoxicating. 7. You've become detached from outcomes, and that's power. When you were younger, you probably cared too much about whether she liked you, whether you said the right thing, whether you were enough. But as you've grown, you've realized something freeing. Attraction can't be forced. You don't chase anymore, you let things unfold. That calm detachment, not coldness, but confidence, is one of the strongest masculine signals you can give off. Because women subconsciously interpret it as emotional strength. It tells her, you don't need her validation to feel valuable. And that independence is the foundation of true attraction. So when you look in the mirror and see a few gray hairs or wrinkles, don't mistake them for loss. They're marks of evolution. You've become a man who's lived, learned, and built depth, and that's exactly the kind of energy women crave, but rarely find. You're not fading with time, you're refining. Because when a man truly understands himself, his value, his presence, his calm, that's when he becomes timeless. And that's what it means to age like fine wine. By now, you've probably realized something important. Aging doesn't reduce your attractiveness. It refines it. But what actually causes women to feel drawn to a man who's older, calmer, and more experienced? Let's go deeper into the 5 psychological triggers that activate female attraction toward mature men and why they're often more powerful than youth or looks ever could be. 1. The safety and strength trigger. This is the most primal one. A woman's attraction isn't just about what she sees, it's about what she feels in your presence. When she senses stability, control, and confidence, her body naturally relaxes. Your calm tone, your steady movements, your unshakable energy all signal to her subconscious that you're dependable, that you can handle pressure, that you're safe. You're not reacting to the world, you're grounded within it. And that's a huge trigger, because women are biologically wired to be drawn to men who make them feel secure. So when your presence gives her that feeling of safety, attraction becomes almost inevitable. 2. The emotional mystery trigger. You've probably noticed the less you reveal about yourself too quickly, the more curious women become. That's not a game, it's psychology. Mature men don't overshare, they don't chase attention, and they don't explain every move. That subtle restraint makes women wonder. She starts to think about you when you're not around. She replays your words, trying to figure you out. That curiosity is emotional engagement, and it's one of the most powerful triggers of attraction. Because when a woman's mind is occupied with you, her emotions start to follow. And mystery is the oxygen of attraction. It keeps her interest alive. 3. The selective attention trigger. You've heard the saying, when everything has your attention, nothing truly matters. But as a man ages well, he becomes selective. He gives attention deliberately, not freely. And women notice that. When you listen to her with focus, when you make eye contact and truly understand what she's saying without trying to impress or outshine her, it makes her feel seen. Not admired for her looks, but understood for who she is. That kind of attention is rare, and it's deeply attractive. Because when a mature man gives his attention, it feels valuable. And women instinctively chase what feels valuable. 4. The calm dominance trigger. This doesn't mean control or aggression, it means presence and composure. It's the way you guide situations without forcing them. You make decisions clearly, you communicate directly, You take initiative but without ego. Women interpret that as leadership, and leadership is a deeply rooted attraction point in female psychology. When you calmly take charge, whether it's in conversation, planning, or conflict, it shows her that you're capable of leading without controlling. That's dominance through composure, not dominance through force. And that's exactly what separates mature masculine energy from immature bravado. 5. The non-neediness trigger. Here's the most powerful one and the rarest. As you grow, you stop needing validation from women. You enjoy their presence, but you don't depend on it. You can appreciate beauty without chasing it. You can walk away without resentment. And that emotional independence sends a very specific message to a woman's subconscious. This man values himself more than he values approval. And that instantly raises your status in her mind. Because when a man doesn't need her but still wants her, the balance of power shifts. She feels your value, she respects it, and attraction grows naturally out of that respect. So if you've noticed lately that women treat you differently, softer tone, longer looks, more genuine curiosity, understand this. It's not luck, and it's not coincidence. It's your evolution showing through. You've become the kind of man who doesn't have to try hard anymore because everything about you communicates quiet strength. You've learned the lessons, built the calm, and developed the presence that younger men still chase. And that's exactly what makes you magnetic now. Because attraction, at its deepest level, isn't about perfection, it's about energy. And the energy of a grounded, self-aware, emotionally controlled man is something no filter, no status, and no youth can compete with. You've aged like fine wine, and every experience, every lesson, every scar has only added to your flavor. So the next time you doubt yourself, remember this. Aging isn't working against you, it's revealing your strength. Because the most powerful version of a man isn't found in his 20s. It's found when he finally understands himself. You've been watching Be Feminine, where we decode female psychology and reveal the hidden truths of attraction. If you found value in this, make sure to stay tuned, because the more you understand women, the more powerful you become as a man.